think I told myself that I wasn't tired enough, and I think, yeah, and I told this to my team that I wasn't, of course, meeting Rafa and just, being able to kind of converse with him on a quite a regular basis is
Her before the match. I told her before the match, I don't mind if you win or lose, but we need to show that we are better. It's true, and
That's nice.
for us was surprising because he came down, he took a racket, he's playing.
I've been playing tennis since I was 4 and I'm 20 now, so it's 16 years of tennis, but I'm still as motivated. A surface in the Philippines called shell court.
Shell court?
Yes, I'm not exactly sure what it is. By the name, it's probably like crushed up shells and a lot of other stuff. But
Thing with a second idea.
Really?
Yeah, to help on serve, to help.
Rafael Nadal himself picked up a racket, something he had never done for any student before, and walked onto the court specifically for her. Rafa's uncle flies in to watch her matches. Her coach gives tactical instructions mid-match in Spanish so opponents can't understand them. And she learned tennis on a surface that doesn't exist anywhere else on Earth. This is not a normal tennis story. And what the Nadal Academy insiders are saying about Roland Garros 2026 will change how you see everything coming next.
It is the 20-year-old sensation from the Philippines, Alex Eala, who's joining us after her 6-4 in the third set victory over Magdalena Freck out on Petrangeli. First of all, congratulations on the win. I watched that entire match. It was really kind of a symphony in 3 movements, right? You bageled her in the first set. She came back, won the second set 6-4, went up a break in the third, and then you turned it around and won in 3. What happened in sort of the last 20, 25 minutes of that match that allowed you to take control?
oof, I think I told myself that I wasn't tired enough. And I think, yeah, and I told this to my team that I wasn't finishing the points tired enough. So maybe the intensity went down a little bit, and I tried my best to give that little extra push every single point, and it paid off.
That extra push is something that you talked to us a little bit about in Miami. You told us on the desk in Miami that you often tell your team that every match at this level feels like life and death to you. What do you mean by that?
Well, everybody is really good at this level, and anything can happen. And I think that's a beautiful thing about tennis. But at the same time, it's a profession that really keeps you on your toes and is really high pressure, because every single match is a different circumstance, it's a different situation. And yeah, sometimes one match can change a lot for you, especially when you're changing seasons, or for me in clay is not my strongest surface, so every match is really...
Down a break in the third set in Rome, most players tighten up. Alex told herself she wasn't suffering enough and deliberately raised her intensity. That self-diagnosis mid-match is not a coaching instruction. It came from inside. And where exactly that instinct was trained will surprise every person watching this video.
Seasons, or for me in clay, is not my strongest surface, so every match is really a battle.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You grew up essentially at the Nadal Academy, where I believe they have a couple of clay courts, and yet, as you point out, you've played very little as a professional on clay compared to how much you've played on hard. Are you starting to fall in love with the clay? Is it a work in progress? How are you digging it now?
Of course, I'm starting to build that relationship, especially at this level, because I've competed in clay definitely many times growing up, but playing as a professional obviously is a different game. I think this is my first season where I've really done kind of these high-level tournaments. So I did the 500 in Linz, 500 in Stuttgart, and then straight into the thousands, and then Roland Garros, of course. So I'm finding my footing, and I know that I can do well. I'm a much better player physically, mentally than I was last year. So, and we've really been working hard, my team and I. So I'm really happy. I was brought up training with my lolo like that. It was never not intense. So yeah.
From what? From 4 years old?
Yeah, so it was never not intense. There was always competition, and me as a person, I am quite competitive.
To help on the footwork, help on coordination, but making her having fun, because if you think every day, 1 hour doing the same thing before the match, One thing that we said before we don't want is the player getting bored. So we try to put other things having fun that she doesn't know, but we are working for tennis. So
1 hour before she ever hits a tennis ball on match day. Football, volleyball, handball, American football, all disguised as fun, but secretly engineering for serve, footwork, and coordination. And here's the detail nobody mentions. They hide the purpose from her deliberately, because if she knows, the fun stops working.
Point, which to me is tremendous. So, is it true that Rafa was on court with you for 30 minutes? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, he was watching the practice from one window upstairs from the indoor course.
Yeah.
And he came down to help because he's lefty also. So he had, and he gives some tips to Alex, like to try to do better. It's true. And
that's nice.
For us was surprising because he came down, he took a racket, he's playing to her, so for us was amazing. We couldn't believe that.
Really? Because he hasn't done that before?
Well, he was playing.
Really a battle.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You grew up essentially at the Nadal Academy, where I believe they have a couple of clay courts, and yet, as you point out, you've played very little as a professional on clay compared to how much you've played on hard. Are you starting to fall in love with the clay? Is it a work in progress? How are you digging it now?
Of course, I'm starting to build that relationship, especially at this level, because I've competed in clay definitely many times growing up, but playing as a professional obviously is a different game. I think this is my first season where I've really done kind of these high-level tournaments. So I did the 500 in Linz, 500 in Stuttgart, and then straight into the thousands, and then Roland Garros, of course. So I'm finding my footing, and I know that I can do well. I'm a much better player physically, mentally than I was last year. So, and we've really been working hard, my team and I. So I'm really happy with how I played this match, and hopefully, the things we've been working on will reflect.
Regular conversations with Rafa, coaching sessions with Tony, a graduation photo standing between both Nadals that circulated the morning of her biggest win. She said if you'd told her this when she was younger, there's no way she would have believed you. But now, it's just her Tuesday.
Are you happy with it?
Yes.
You think she's there in terms of her level?
Yeah, because specifically what you're saying now is what I told her before the match. I don't mind if you win or lose, but we need to show that we are here for a reason.
Yeah.
So we need to show that you have the level. And if you have the level, it means you can compete and you can try.
Perfect.
So this is what I'm happy with this match, because I knew from 10 times, maybe 9 or 10 on clay, Swiatek should win.
Yes.
But it's true that today we were close.
Super close.
We were close. And I think she felt a bit the
pressure.
Yeah.
Credit to Iga, who was able to pull herself together emotionally, stay focused. She didn't get angry when she was making so many errors, right? So
what she did for me is value. She did good.
Yeah, but the good news is for Alex that she's there in the surface, because the surface. And what about the level of tennis that Alex played and Iga?
No, the surface makes you play one level or another level. My feelings on Miami were even though Iga playing well, we could do it.
Because of the fast court.
Yeah, because Alex moves better on hard and is more a hardcore player. Here, I think Iga felt what we felt in Miami. That
yes, uncomfortable a little bit, no?
At one point it's the same, but opposite. No, it's like to make understand. If you ask Federer to play against Rafa, maybe he would ask to play on hard, on gas.
Yeah.
And maybe Rafa would prefer to play on clay, no?
Yes.
It's part of the game. We need to improve.
Her coach used the most perfect analogy, asking Federer to beat Rafa on clay. That's what clay is for Alex right now. But here's the part that changes everything for Roland Garros. This is only her first real clay season at the highest level, and she is already doing this.
Digging it now.
Of course, I'm starting to build that relationship, especially at this level, because I've competed in clay definitely many times growing up, but playing as a professional obviously is a different game. I think this is my first season where I've really done kind of these high-level tournaments. So I did the 500 in Linz, 500 in Stuttgart, and then straight into the thousands, and then Roland Garros, of course. So I'm finding my footing, and I know that I can do well. I'm a much better player physically, mentally than I was last year. So, and we've really been working hard, my team and I. So I'm really happy with how I played this match, and hopefully, you know, the things we've been working on will reflect.
Before we had very good fitness coach too. The change was more about personality, able to travel, so more on this way. So it's not knowledge. Everybody in the academy works so well and so hard, so also help us. So when you have a doubt, oh, I want to make a change on her serve, I make a video, ask to Tony Nadal, ask to Joan Bosch, Tomeu Salva, so many big names in Spain that help us a lot on the process. So I don't have doubts when I go to change something.
Before touching her serve, her coach sends video to Tony Nadal, Juan Bosch, and Tomo Salva, 3 of the most respected tennis minds in Spain. Only if all 3 agree does he make the change. That is the level of infrastructure behind every single technical adjustment she makes. Nobody talks about this.
Nice experience actually on tournaments. The seats of the coach were next to each other, and I had to do all the instructions on the match in Spanish because I didn't want the other coach knows what I'm saying to her.
Because English.
Yeah, because now some tournaments are allowed to do coaching.
Oh yeah, it's allowed, right?
Yeah,
Coaching?
yeah. So I was doing all the tournament doing coaching in Spanish with her, and she understood pretty well.
You're the first Filipino player ever in the top 100, first Filipino ever to play Main Draw US Open. What is the status of tennis in your country?
I would say it's improving right now. I'm so happy to see, you know, how tennis has grown, because people keep telling me when I come back that, you know, it's so hard to get courts now. And, you know, that's what I love to hear, because I feel like that will push for the construction of new courts. And I think having someone at this stage and this level, you know, competing in the slams and being on the tour can help inspire, you know.
Tennis courts in the Philippines are now hard to get because of her. That's not a marketing line. She confirmed it herself. One player, no template, no Filipino before her to study, and yet she walked into Roland Garros for the first time as a seeded player. What comes next is the real story. This is not a player who got lucky at one tournament. This is a decade of infrastructure. Shell courts in Manila, 4 a.m. gym sessions at 11, a grandfather with tennis magazines, and eventually the most prestigious tennis academy on the planet, all pointing at one moment: Roland Garros 2026. If you want to follow this story before everyone else does, subscribe right now. And drop in the comments which detail hit you the hardest. We read every single one.